Broadcasting live from the seething landscape on the plain of Alara, this is Tap Tap Concede. Welcome, everybody, to Tap Tap Concede. Joining me today, I'm Graham, and joining me today is Kathleen.
Hello.
And Cameron.
Huh?
And today, we're just going to be talking about stuff.
Yeah.
It says in the opening titles, casual discussions of casual magic, and we're just coming in here, we're just chatting about magic.
Yeah, we're gonna casual at you from here.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Utter casuals over here. But before we get into it, we want to remind you that these casuals are brought to you by Card Kingdom. CardKingdom.com/LRR is where you can get yourself some magical cards in actual cardboard. You can get yourself some Modern Horizons 3, for example. Order yourself some singles for Commander decks you're brewing or whatever you feel like doing. They'll ship singles anywhere in the world and sealed product anywhere in the U.S. And tell them that we sent you, and they'll give you a little button that says a funny thing. I'm not sure what it says right now, but it'll be good.
It'll be
Yeah,
good.
you'll look at it and smile.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, how often do you get that?
There you go. Also, this show and everything we do here at Loading Ready Run is brought to you directly by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun or by becoming a member here on YouTube. We think Seething Landscape is from Alara.
I mean, it makes sense.
It's wherever I am that someone's told me what to do is a seething landscape.
I prefer to remand myself to the custody of the coping landscape. It's a survival trait.
Malding landscape. This is the Grixis one. So this is on Alara, we assume.
Grixis has never looked so good.
I know. It's real nice.
I mean, this has got a Mordor vibe to it.
Yeah.
I love it.
We talked about the landscapes last time, and we think that 5 of them are on Alara and 5 of them are on Tarkir.
That makes sense. Those are the tricolor zones.
Yeah, because the deceptive landscape is Obzon, and it's in the middle of the desert. So we're like, yeah, this feels like that's where the Obzon hang out with their Dune Blast. I got ruined by Dune Blast in Chromatic Cube the other day. Have you dabbled at all with the Chromatic Cube, Cameron?
I have not. I was playing a lot of Guilds of Ravnica.
So were you.
So was I.
I'm good at.
Yeah,
Like,
that format
I was getting
rules.
ruined in Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
Yeah.
Right? And then I was like, man, I'm demoralized. I'm going to go play some Ravnica. And I was just killing people left and right with Izzet.
Oh, hell yeah. The Izzet deck in that.
Yeah.
This was the flashback premiere draft a couple weeks ago at time of broadcast.
I'm so sad that I missed it.
And yeah, it was a good one because this was the set that had the Izzet deck, which was very fun. There was 2 different ways to play it. There was Izzet big spells and Izzet aggro.
Yeah, the Izzet aggro I found was really reliable and consistent.
Yeah, with Pisty Fisto, the Cyclops, everyone's favorite Cyclops, Piston Fist.
I mean, you also can't underestimate a couple of Leapfrogs or even a couple of Vidalcan Mesmerists.
Yeah.
Two of those guys swinging in really takes the teeth out of any defense.
Yeah, they're the ones that give your opponent's creature -2/-0 when they attack.
Yeah.
And the Izzet thing was Jumpstart. That was their mechanic. The Dimir deck was really good. That was Surveil. And the Boros Mentor deck was pretty strong.
I found the Boros Mentor deck, when it came together, killed everyone.
Yep.
And if you didn't get the exact right 23 cards, you just
I had one where no one else at the table was in like Boros. Other people were in variously red or white, but nobody else was Boros, and so I had 4 Sky Knight Legionnaires because everybody was like, gold cards with red and white pass.
I'm not in that combination. Here's the deal. Sometimes Boros, sometimes people I have found in Ravnica formats, Boros tends to get underdrafted because people assume it's like got to be very like synergistic to work with one another. Nah, they just get like a bunch of like 2/2s for 3 that have flying and haste and just take all of the good Boros cards, and it doesn't matter if they work together because turning things sideways is the secret Boros theme every time. Mentor is just addition to turning things sideways, right?
And like if you get Mentor to cook off,
great.
Yeah.
You're winning more.
That's wavy gravy. Right. But like, man, 3 Sky Knight Legionnaires? Yeah. You're in business.
4. He had 4.
4, yeah.
4?
It was wild, and a True Fire Captain, and it was silly.
Yeah, wow.
That set had the Selesnya Convoke mechanic, which was good, not as good necessarily as the other ones we talked about, but that was good. You get your Siege Worm down on turn 3 or 4 if you can. And then also Golgari was there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Golgari was the least. It was Undergrowth was the Undergrowth was the mechanic, and it was like it cared about creatures in your graveyard. And there was some cool stuff. There's like Necrotic Wound, which is the 1 mana -X/-X. But you got to like be milling yourself, and
there isn't like,
like I think Golgari suffered from the thing of like the Dimir cannibalizing their good black cards and the Selesnya cannibalizing the good green ones.
Yeah, because like Selesnya wanted Pitiless Gorgon.
Yep.
As a good death touch blocker.
Yeah.
That's like the explicitly Golgari card.
Yes.
So,
yeah, and like the Dimir wanted that too.
But
because it was just a good card to like make your opponent not attack you for a turn or two, which is kind of what the Dimir deck needs to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
How like, because it's, you could just cast it for black.
Mm-hmm.
How like Ravnica fitting is it that the Golgari are sort of pillaged and unappreciated for the work that they do for the rest of the guilds?
Ooh, lore implications.
So here's the deal. This is why Ravnica is the best plane. One, I feel that it is by far the best. Like, they came together when they designed the original Ravnica plane, and they picked with a fresh sort of look all of the most like representative things that those colors did in Magic, smashed them together and gave them a cool name.
Yeah.
And like really nailed it. They nailed the flavor of all the guilds, because that was the first time they'd done something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the plane itself is a real banger to cap it off. It's got just a little bit of everything, right? It's not too rustic. It's not too developed. It's just like in that sweet spot of you can do almost anything storytelling wise.
Well, and yeah, like the names worked really well. It wasn't like in Invasion Block where we were like, which one is Raka and which one is Dega again?
Yeah, exactly. They're all like distinct and unique and kind of sound like their names. Like the creative direction for Ravnica really hit it out of the park, and it's got such an interesting visual look. Unlike I mean, nowadays it's not as unique, but unlike, at the time, it didn't look like any other plane because it was this beautiful, beautiful city with all of this, Eastern European lovely architecture and drippy spires everywhere.
And I mean, it also kind of like, it did it first and best.
Yes.
Right? So it kind of occupied that mind space.
Yeah.
And also, you can look at those cards and faintly hear Fonk playing in the background.
Did you, in your Is It deck, Cameron, did you get to resolve my favorite 4-mana sorcery for that deck? Cosmotronic Wave.
Oh, yeah. No, you get that. I mean,
The
that's
win
your
the game
winner.
card?
Yeah, the win the game card. Where it's just like, that's on the stack and like your opponent just scoops.
Yeah.
Right.
It's 3 in a red, deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control, and also they can't block.
Yeah.
So you're like, you've sort of been chiseling them down, and then you're like, right, now I play this thing, my Wheat Dragonauts are bigger, my Piston Fist Cyclops can attack, and none of you can block. Crunch.
Yeah. Swing for 14.
Yeah. Jumpstart my, what is it, the Frenzied Charge or whatever it is. I don't know. It's like a Viashino with goggles going absolutely ham.
That gives you haste and +1/+1.
Yeah.
With Jumpstart, or like, flashing back your the 3-mana shock, or jumpstarting the 3-mana shock to like take out something with.
Oh, direct current. Yeah. I was doing. I had been. I think MH3 messed me up because we did the PPR, and 6 for Modern Horizons 3 gives non-land permanents in your graveyard retrace on your turn.
Right.
And I had forgotten that Jumpstart is just discard a card. For some reason, I had been conflating it with retrace in my head and thought that it was lands only.
Right.
Until like, I don't know, halfway through the week that it was here. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm still, why is this highlighted? Oh, I'm stupid. Remembering that you can Jumpstart with any card. So,
man. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
6 is a wild card if you haven't seen it. It's
6 is a 2/4 for 3.
Yeah, which is already great. And it's got reach, and then you get to mill 3 cards and potentially put a land into your hand, and that's already great. And then on your turn, non-land permanent cards in your graveyard have retrace.
6 is a 2,
Did-
4 for 3 that mills 3.
Is this the first time also that we've seen a like permanent with retrace? Because normally,
Oh yeah.
if I recall correctly, originally in Eventide, I'm just thinking of Call the Skybreaker.
Yeah.
Was that was the one I remember? Jeremy had Call the Skybreaker in his commander deck.
Yeah, redfish, bluefish.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah. And they were sorceries. I think they were mostly sorceries where you could cast them again late in the game by discarding a land. But were there any creatures? Were there any non-land permanents with
I don't
retrace?
think so. The ones that I always enjoyed the most were Una's Grace and Raven's Crime.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that you could. Does this imply that 6 is from Lorwyn?
I guess it does.
That's an interesting thought.
Lore.
That's an interesting thought. Well, so not necessarily because
Okay.
Deep-root historian
Merfolk and Druids in your graveyard have retrace. This is from one of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan commander decks.
Yeah.
Is that where this is from, Paul?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Huh. So is this the first instance? Like, I haven't seen this because there's too many commander decks and I haven't seen them all. I feel like this might be the first instance.
Maybe
of
they're
that,
just
but-
exploring retrace and we got really
It's fine. I mean,
excited for
It's
something.
a cool mechanic.
That is.
The Modern Horizons 1 Ren 6 just gave instants and sorceries retrace.
Right.
Right. I forgot about that. It does so many other things. Like Bees 2 mana that I forgot about that. Okay, right. So the retrace is a thing there. Huh.
+1
Interesting.
to strip mine someone.
Yep.
Absolutely cracked.
Yep. I like that about Modern Horizons where they explore sort of interesting ways to do mechanics that we've seen so far. But also the mechanics are not necessarily sort of planar bound. Like
Yeah. 'Cause
until
energy is a Kaladesh thing, but it's on all of the sort of the cards that care about energy. Like there's a Phyrexian energy card.
yeah. And I was thinking of there's a I think it's a Strixhaven mage that gets Battle Cry or something like that. Like
Right.
there's a lot of sort of mixing stuff going on. I'm happy to say that 6 is from Lorwyn until we hear a correction otherwise. I think
assume
we
that
know
there's
where
probably
6 is
about
from.
8 comments already and counting.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I
In
can just
YouTube?
look it up.
Okay. Kathleen's going to look it up.
I don't know. Maybe energy is Kaladesh's soft power. They export the reactors to other planes as a way of like.
So,
I like
so
that idea.
locationally, Kaladesh is on the edge of the multiverse, close to the blind eternities, and apparently that's where some of that. That's why it's unstable, or not unstable, but that's why it's weird, and you have that energy coming into Kaladesh.
Really?
is what I recall.
Okay.
From I know this fact, and like normally when my brain regurgitates something like that, it's like this is too fully formed for me to have just
Made it up.
headcanoned.
Yeah.
I have a good track of all the headcanon I've created.
Is that why Etherborn just sort of happened?
Yes, kind of, I believe.
Huh.
I think I have to look this up for Etherborn. This is why I know this.
Fascinating. Okay. But that is one of the things that I like quite a bit. Maybe in a future episode we'll do sort of looking at some of the Modern Horizons cards and things that they reference.
Oh,
But I do like. Oh.
We do know where 6 is from.
Oh.
6 is an oak tree from Kessig on Innistrad.
Really?
Oh.
Right. Oh yeah. Huh.
Well. Cool.
Apparently, as referenced in a Sean and McGuire story from 2021.
Well then.
Neat.
Well, then I stand corrected. This is why I try not to do too much lore stuff until I've been
Right.
able to check my references. But now I'm looking up Kaladesh.
Did you see that tweet that was like, "Hey everyone, let's play Counting with Ren. 6, 7, Realm Breaker."
I mean, I guess it makes sense that 6 would have some kind of graveyard interaction that isn't like necromantic necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay. Kaladesh is a plane where Aether manifests more than on other planes, being present in the atmosphere. That's why you get the Aetherborn. They're literally energy condensing out of the...
How is Ren?
Oh, wait.
doing?
I'm sorry. The atmosphere of Kaladesh is saturated with Aether due to greater proximity to the boundaries of the blind eternities. So it's just closer. It's on the edge of the universe, the known universe, close to the blind eternities, where all this weird energy is sort of seeking in, and the incredibly clever people of Kaladesh have harnessed it, and occasionally it sort of reacts near factories and takes on sort of like the forms and psychic echoes of people who work at Aether refineries, and that's where the Aetherborn are from.
Oh, okay.
They're
So
like-
it's not like if you were burning, say we were burning fossil fuels, and it turned out that it was also just like a liquid form of dinosaur.
No,
Right,
it's
and
not
we're
like that.
Is there ethical concerns about this as we're pumping gasoline into our car that's crying?
Yeah, no, it's not like that. It's
No,
like
I want to live.
It's like the energy sort of picks up the psychic impressions
Okay.
of people who are left there, and it forms all of these different things into new beings.
Okay.
That's a very funny thought.
I remember my mother's name.
Glug, glug,
Glug,
ding.
glug, glug.
Oh, I almost got it to the perfect dollar. Darn, oh well.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
sorry, I kept it.
Experiences that have been lost, like tears in the rain.
Yeah.
Kids, have you ever tried to pump gas to $1?
Yeah, I always do that just as a mini game.
Yeah, it's like a QuickTime event
Yeah.
from the time when currency was an actual like token,
Yeah.
I mean,
and it
it's
was
still
irritating to have
satisfying.
more of them.
That's true. That's true. Satisfying to get all the numbers to be even. Or go to 69.
Raffle Mao.
Also that. What kind of mileage?
I interrupted like 3 times to talk about more Kaladesh facts.
I
and
don't remember where I was going.
I'm so sorry.
I was talking about Modern Horizons. I think it was just how they combine two different things that we haven't seen combined before in interesting ways, and using it as an excuse to explore, like, well, something like that. Like, what if something from Innistrad had Retrace is like not the most interesting example, but something in that realm of sort of like, what if something from this plane where previously we've only had these mechanics, what if someone from this plane, what if their card could mechanically use these other mechanics that were previously sort of narratively tied to a different plane, but they don't need to be narratively tied. They just were for the mechanics of that set. So what if we put them over here now? And I think that's neat.
I agree. I like that. Now I'm just wondering if like energy is an Eldrazi thing,
I feel
or is
like
it tied to the blind. If it's tied to the blind eternities,
Yeah.
I do think that MH3, a lot of MH3 is, what if this plane had Eldrazi? What if this plane had Eldrazi?
Yeah. I mean, I joked, and some people have seen at the coffee shop this morning.
An Eldrazi?
No. the person in the kitchen, she handed me a scone, and she was like, "You were on my TikTok feed last night." Because we did a Modern Horizons pre-release ad for Wizards. You may have seen it
good.
on some of their official channels. That was we didn't post it, as you can tell, because it was posted from like official Wizards channels. They paid us to make it. Thanks, Wizards. I'm talking about going to Modern Horizons pre-release, and so in that ad, I was making the joke about like, Modern Horizons answers the questions about what if Siege Gang Commander was an Eldrazi, what if Muldrifter was an Eldrazi, or what if a bear was real big.
yeah,
It was just really funny to have the person be like, "I saw you on my TikTok." That must have been jarring too, if she was just sort of like scrolling TikTok and was like, "Yeah, this is a regular in our coffee shop. What the hell?"
this man is a nerd.
Yeah, I'm like,
I mean,
well,
I
'cause
think she
just
knew you were a nerd.
Yeah, but she just opened with like, "You were on my TikTok feed," and I was like,
like,
"Advertising
doing a
Magic the
cute
Gathering?"
dance?
Yeah.
like
Was I dropping it low, or was I advertising Magic the Gathering? The former doesn't presently exist. Stay tuned. No.
I'd like to start a TikTok. I think what I need is more unfiltered opportunities to talk.
man, I definitely need something that I can just flick my thumb to get dopamine. I need another one of those.
Yeah, I'd rather not do that.
Yeah.
I think TikTok would be bad for me. Mentally.
There's an old Spider Robinson short story called God is an Iron, where a guy breaks into a house and he finds this woman who is dying because she has the new thing, which is an electrode hooked directly up to the pleasure centers of your brain.
Oh,
And she's just like, put it on full power and she's going to die, right, in a few days.
right.
And some days I'm like scrolling Twitter and thinking of that short story.
Yeah, I mean, I assume it's the various implications of just like, why would you not simply go, great, turn that up to 11?
Yep.
Like, there's, at what, if it was that easy,
Yeah.
at what point would you ever say, that's enough pleasure for now?
Yep. Yeah. There was an old Parking Lot is Full comic with a similar idea, but it only worked whenever you charged something to your credit card.
I mean, I do buy a lot of secret layers. So, I mean, one of the things that we were going to talk about, we haven't told you this yet, but one of the things that we thought we might
20
talk
minutes
about
in.
of the thing at the beginning of the show, it says casual discussions of casual magic. We're just chatting. One of the things was sort of like, where are we at with magic these days right now? Obviously, we all play magic for content, right? But when we are not doing the magic that you get to enjoy on this channel, what are we doing? And not as much as I used to.
No.
But to be fair, the amount that I'm now doing for content is way more than it was. So there is a bit of a balance there. But
We've been very busy recently with Friday nights. That was a huge sort of like interruption to schedule and
Which is also-
workload. Magic
also
related.
about magic.
I mean,
but-
we
but
spent
it's-
so much time writing jokes and trying to understand the current landscape of magic and stuff. So I feel like I'm very immersed culturally in magic right now because of that process. But
Like,
I've had less time to play because I've been working on things.
yeah. You become immersed in kind of like the meme-scape.
Yeah.
But lose connection with the game
Well, it's kind of
itself because like those are separate things.
yeah. But my 2024 is I've spent 20 like the first part of it. We were playing a Magic the Gathering themed Dungeons and Dragons thing, so we were very immersed in it. And then we
during that time, I was writing 8 episodes of Friday Nights.
yeah. And then when we were done, there was like more work and polish that had to do on Friday nights and stuff like that and everything like that. So I feel like I've been doing a lot of Magic the Gathering stuff. But I will say that the Magic the Gathering lore, great, is in a very good spot right now. I think that you can tell people who care about it are trying to plan the story beats and working with what they're given and really fighting to tell stories well rather than just be like, we should do this. And the writers they have, the sort of the stable of writers they've hired are really good. Right. You know, you have Hugo Award winning authors writing magic fiction right now, which is cool. They're after the Theros Beyond Death thing where we just kind of had to infer what happened. That was, I think, the absolute nadir. I think it's trying to come back up. So that's good at least.
I still am hoping that they give those authors space to play.
Yes.
I enjoy what they're able to do. It still feels so condensed to me.
Yes.
I would love to see that given 350 to 400 pages.
The Warhammer approach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when I'm not playing on camera, mostly I do draft on Arena.
You draft a lot.
I do. I really like it, even when it's Cube and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Actually, I've had a fine run with Cube. Not on stream yesterday.
No, that was unusual.
That was not a good day of Magic. But the other than that, I've had reasonable times with the Chromatic Cube, but mostly, guilds. Thunder Junction's honestly been very fun. I'm looking forward to Modern Horizons 3. We have, at time of broadcast of this episode, the Fam Jam is tomorrow. So tune in for that on Tuesday. We're going to be streaming it all day. During the early access event, I got paired back to back against Gabriel Nassif and Sam Black.
Rip.
And that was, I lost both those games. But Nassif was playing mono white, and Sam Black was playing 5 colors. And I was like, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Showing you the spread of the things that are possible.
That's good.
Yeah, no, this format seems very, very fun. And also, I mean, we talked about this a little bit last time in the sort of pre-release tips episode, but different from Thunder Junction, and certainly coming down off of Thunder Junction as well. Despite the play boosters and the fact that you can open commander cards and that there are powerful cards, it seems it's a lot less like bomb forward.
Okay, that's good.
Right? Like
Yeah.
the thing is all the cards are very powerful, right? But it's so that it's not like I'm just trying to do my thing and then someone plays this absolutely preposterous mythic that can still happen, but it's less.
It's
right?
less likely in a set that doesn't have like 3 different also additional possible chances to get rares.
I'm repeating myself from last week, but I opened the pre-release kit, right? You get your 6 boosters and your promo card, and so that's and I had in my whole pool 8 rares.
Right.
So I had 1 extra rare.
Yeah,
Whereas,
instead of like 12.
yeah, Thunder Junction is you're like I can't hold all these mythics, right? So so yeah, I'm enjoying that. But that's like sort of it. I wish I had time to play Commander more, and part of that is because, and I joked about this earlier this episode, I still get a lot of secret layers. I didn't from the most recent spring super drop. I was like, no, I don't need any of these, and I felt
Mature.
I felt good about being like, no, I've decided I don't need these.
See, like normally I skip secret layers.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a couple, but I think this spring, the one with the space themed ones, especially Thought Vessel with
Oh yeah.
the black hole in the astronaut's helmet.
I did get that was from the previous one. I
The
did get
previous
those.
one. And
yeah.
then the tarot ones are also ones that I regret not getting.
The hero ones were cool, but I was close, but I was like, no, especially since I don't like that. I functionally know why they did it not just from a profit perspective, but like, the moving back to I'm just going to call it the FOMO model of secret layers, where because the issue that they encountered, they introduced secret layer, and it was like this drop. The way that the model they introduced it with when secret layer launched was like, this is available today. You can only buy it today, and then that's it. And people were like that.
That's too stressful.
Yeah, don't like that. Stuff comes up. That's a bad idea. And so then they were like, okay, so instead we'll do it. It's available for a period of time, and it's print to demand. So we have orders open for a period of time, then the orders close, and then we print all the ones for everyone that ordered, and then we ship those out. And the problem with that model was that
it makes it super slow.
it took like 7 months for people to get their cards, which I'd be fine with because I forget, and then I get a box. I'm like, what is this? Oh, secret layer. When did I buy you? Right? So I kind of like that, but obviously that's annoying for other reasons. But so now to fix that problem, they've moved back to and I call it the FOMO model because I literally with this most recent drop, because I've bought previous stuff, so I get their emails. I'm getting emails that's they're like, the Hatsune Miku are almost sold out, and I'm like, I don't care. So now they print a set amount and they have a set amount available, and if you miss the chance, then that's it. And another change that they've made that I detest is that the bonus card.
Yes.
There's now optional randomness
I don't
/
love that.
rarities to the
Yeah.
bonus cards.
So this is just going to make people buy multiples.
Well, that's the intent, obviously.
Yeah.
And I
Loathe that.
I detest that so much, especially since it's been totally opaque. I loved the bonus cards because it was like a fun thing where it's like,
Surprise!
I know I'm getting that, and then I'll get something else as well.
like
and
some
maybe
weirdo uncommon.
maybe it'll be a foil basic, maybe it'll be a random sliver, but it might be something that's like in the theme of this, and won't that be a neat thing to find out? But now they've sort of like weaponized the bonus card, even though they've never talked about it. To be clear, they have never once ever said that you get a bonus card with secret layers. It's been a completely like opaque secret thing. But it's an open secret that like, your secret layer might come with or will come with some extra card that for a while there was just like a basic mountain, right? Or like a random sliver reprinter. I have like 3 Elvish Visionaries.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but now with the Miku one especially, that was when I saw on the subreddit that it was like a bunch of people were like, "Oh, I got this cool Miku card," and someone else was like, "Oh, I got I got a Snapcaster Mage that was like a Miku variant Snapcaster Mage, and people were like, "What? There's rarities to the bonus card?" And I don't like that at all.
Yeah, like I could imagine a scenario where they're like, "Can we just make one of these like Snapcaster? Maybe that would be cool."
Yeah.
And now, like, maybe that was what happened, but it definitely feels like this is a way of making people buy multiples just for the chance to hit.
Yeah. As you can
Right.
see at home, if you're watching the video version, we don't even have like
Scryfall.
we have confirmed one of these existing. So because there's no better photo than this one, right?
And
so it's like, okay.
It's cool art.
Yeah,
It actually looks like I do not Miku, but this is cool. The
Right.
Elvish Mystic is, I can tell you, me and my homies would kill that with hammers. I can tell you what.
Miku, not for you.
No,
No,
but
not for me either.
No, that would come out of a wall of blossoms, and I'd have to hit it with a shovel.
When they announced the secret lair, the Miku, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Not for me.
Yeah.
I've never been a
Sure, Miku Secret Lair, okay.
sure. Why not? I've never been a Vocaloid enjoyer myself, but yeah, I mean, I happened to see that on the subreddit, though I don't go on Reddit much these days because they ruined all their third-party apps, and their own app sucks, and that's also
the actual just Reddit website is garbage. You like literally pull it up on a browser and it deforms all the pictures.
yeah, no, it's terrible. And for similarly, I feel I'm sort of rewinding slightly to sort of how we relate to Magic these days. I feel like I miss a lot of like discourse, for good or bad. Maybe that's to my mental health, but like we were talking earlier today before we recorded about something where Kathleen and Cameron and Paul all knew about this thing, and I was like, sorry, what? Because I don't use Twitter because using their app sucks and their website sucks and the man that runs it sucks. And I was just like, I'm just not going to do Twitter anymore. But I do really feel like I miss a lot of vibrant magic discussion.
Magic Twitter is still very much a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic, there's a lot of good magic on Mastodon too. Only very occasional false positives on the MTG hashtag.
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah, and fewer American politician chuds.
yeah.
Right.
Usually it only comes up on Mastodon because someone's complaining about something stupid that she said, not because there's that many pro
Right.
that folks on Mastodon. Anyway, but I do like that you can just follow hashtags on Mastodon. So I follow hashtag Magic the Gathering and hashtag MTG. So I get, I see like every day, just scrolling through the feed, there'll be there's the googly eyes on Magic cards. There's the Rosewater Stone. There's just random card of the day, and just sort of like in with people actually discussing Magic, which is nice. But so that's cool. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, that's sort of I draft and I watch a lot of Kenji. I watch a lot of Kenji drafting, and occasionally listen to Marshall. Brief aside, actually, totally unmagic
this is
related,
really
just
funny.
because I think that this is fascinating. We were watching Marshall's other channel, Wristwatch Revival,
Right.
which is going very well for him, and that's awesome. And we were watching an episode last night or the night before because he was repairing
James Murphy's dad's
from LCD
Rolex.
Sound System. Yeah.
Yeah. And we mentioned something about, I can't remember how it came up in conversation, but my parents were over last night and my mom was like, "Oh, there's a YouTuber that I've been watching who repairs watches." And cuz right, that's what it was, cuz I was talking about we were watching Wristwatch Revival and Kathleen fell asleep. Because
I'm tired.
Because you're tired and you often listen to limited resources as you fall asleep. And so you've
Right.
conditioned yourself that, Marshall's talking, night time. Right? It's like when I'm...
Well, I was already tired.
I know.
It was like midnight.
But it's, look, I'm scrolling TikTok and a hoof cleaning video comes up and that's like, okay, it's time for bed. Like that's
this is why I don't have TikTok. I can't be looking at
you
hooves
don't
being cleaned.
You don't have to watch them.
but I would. I know my weakness.
So I mentioned this, and my mom was like, "Oh, it must, there's somebody I watch doing watch repair videos, and he does have a very nice voice." And I was like, "Who?" And she's like, "Well, I don't recall the name offhand." And I was like, "Is it this one?" And she's like, "Oh, yes, yeah, it is." I'm like, "That's my friend Marshall."
Yeah, he does have a great voice. He's a Magic the Gathering commentator. Yeah.
I love that you can see, he has his like proper work surface, but then he has like a Magic the Gathering playmat off to the side on his desk. I think that's very funny that this is managed to find another a different hobby to
monetize.
turn it. Yeah, I mean,
well, yeah.
Look, if with the changes to coverage, right? Like that was one. He still does Magic coverage, but like there was that aspect, but that got turned down considerably during the pandemic. So, take up a new hobby, and that worked out really well. And he, the guy knows how to make a video, so that was great. Anyway,
and he does lovely dulcet voice.
Yeah, but so that's me and Magic these days.
It's not the same kind. Like obviously, you sound nothing alike, but it's a similar. You have a similar like deepness to both of your voices, but not in like a really deep way. Like it's mid-deep, if that makes sense. Like there's a bassiness that underlies it that's soothing.
There's a musical word for it.
Baritone.
Yes, that's the one. Yes, that's what
Doesn't that just mean deep though?
Well, it's not as deep as bass,
Right.
Yeah.
but it's not like a tenor.
Right.
Or a countertenor.
Yeah, yeah. I have been told previously. I forgot that it was the baritone was the word. I've been told that previously that I have a baritone voice.
That's nice.
But I can't carry much of a tune, despite my best efforts.
I always thought it was interesting that your singing voice and speaking voice might be in different registers.
Yeah.
Have you tried
different
putting it in a
accents.
bag?
Have I tried what?
The tune. If you put it in a bag, it might be easier.
Like a backpack.
Yeah.
It's
Hands free.
Easier on the hands. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
then I
like-
can still
or-
do.
Then you
Or
can
just like
still
a baby
draft.
Bjorn, where you've got like you're carrying your tune and it's in like a, it's master to your blaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The tune.
Put the tune in a baby Bjorn. They still have a hand free for scrolling TikTok and drinking coffee.
Yeah, and it can be like, listen to the law. What am I doing with my life?
I love, by the way, this card, Echoing Deeps. I love that there's a tiny scale dinosaur just screaming. it's just, yeah. It's like, I'm so lost.
I mean,
Fuck.
you ever bust an animal when it thinks it's alone and it's doing something weird?
Yeah.
Like you walk in on your cat and it's like just yowling in the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, you're listening to your own voice. And it's like, no, I'm not.
Baxter is notorious for that, particularly when we were between a second cat and he was on his own, which he did not like. And he'd go to a central space in the house and yowl, but it very clearly got awkward or embarrassed when he realized you were listening, because he'd be like, wow, wow, wow. And you're like, Baxter, and he's like, me. Like just his whole tone, it's like completely changes from what he was doing a moment ago. Just no, normal cat stuff.
Yeah, he hates the new cat, but he hated being alone in a different way.
He hated being alone more than he hates the new cat. They get along okay. Well, Finnegan gets along great with Baxter.
Well, occasionally
Finnegan thinks Baxter's
just
the
fully
best.
distracted. I watched Baxter hop up next to Finnegan, just like go right in his face and give him a big sniff, and Finnegan was like, "What's this?" Right, like thinking he was going to get attacked, and then Baxter just turned around and left, and Finnegan was like, "What was that? What's it?"
Normally he hits me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going after him. Then they fought.
Yeah, and then they fought.
Yeah.
How are you? I almost knocked over our prop. How are you doing magically these days?
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot because I remain active on Twitter against
Better judgment.
better judgment, best judgment, even worse judgment. I think I'm like,
I should speaking of judgment, I should make it really clear. I do not judge anyone for remaining or interacting on Twitter.
I mean,
I am
that's
not
me. I'm also on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I have no high horse about this. I do not care. It is I don't. And it's so
yeah, like I mean, my joke on Twitter is that like every time I log on, I'm reminded that I am not the stupidest person on earth, and I find that extremely disturbing. So, scrolling Twitter is just like points of psychic damage. I apply this dot to myself. But every once in a while, you read a tweet that's so completely unhinged that it heals you, right? Like, how could I ever leave this site? This is someone's brain.
What was
just
that one
saying things out
during
there,
the Friday
right
night
into
shoot?
the open.
There was one that you posted that Matt read to me, and it was one of the most baffling pieces of nonsense I've ever seen, and it was beautiful and perfect. I need to find it, but it would have been from like
You look for that.
I'll look
Yeah.
for this. Yeah.
So, I have a joke. I was thinking about the concept of intelligence, and I realized that. So what you're sort of aware of is that you're not the stupidest person on earth, and that's crushing. But what it is, I feel like if you're of above average intelligence, that you can sort of appreciate that, but also how much higher the intelligence scale can go.
Yes,
And I think that's
yeah.
the most crushing, and I think that's the kind of intelligent that you are, Cameron.
Well, I read what some people write on Twitter, and I'm like, man, I'm just glad there are other people out here operating in like,
the smoothed brain, right?
well, no, like in the intricately crinkled brain range. Like
okay.
it's very reassuring to see people just casually say smart things in relatively few words. Right. Like my partner tells me that, she thinks that I have no circadian rhythm anymore and worries about it because, that kind of thing has been linked to dementia. And I rejoined with, I mean, no, my brain is so intricately folded that if it were to meet Alzheimer's would become cut. And she kind of just like turned away in disgust.
I just laughed so hard I hit my face on our mic stand.
Point being, I remain active on Twitter and I get to see like the mushroom clouds of magic discourse occurring just over the horizon.
Yeah.
Right? Like you see the nuclear flashes of discourse occurring reflected off clouds.
Yeah.
Right?
Or in other people's cryptic tweets.
Yeah,
and
and like or somebody's like, alt is just like, Christ, I hate these people.
That's when I'm
right?
like,
And-
Michelle, what's happening?
Yeah. So I try to stay away from it just because I enjoy looking at it going like, I wonder what's happening over there, but not that much. So what I've been doing is finding a place in the broader magic community for myself. Like I am hunkering down in some post-apocalyptic wasteland and pulling a manhole cover over a shell hole. And I live here now. And as it turns out, that space is like refining my one commander deck, which I enjoy, refining my one Highlander deck, which is now completely obsolete. But, it's still like a fun project. And I think that's where I am with the hobby right now, is as a limited suite of projects that I can like tinker with and enhance in limited ways. Right? Like maybe a new card will be printed. In Modern Horizons 3, my Dimir like ninjutsu deck got a new toy in the form of that knight with menace and the Obscura mechanic from Streets of New Capenna. Connive. I kept wanting to say convict. I'm like, nope, different word. So, that's a pretty powerful effect for something that you can like what I want are creatures with ETB effects that are evasive.
Yeah.
Right? So you can slam them, get an
And
effect, swing in, ninjutsu in. It's a tried and true strategy.
It is.
And I look at that and I experience not delight, but a kind of like enjoyment. Right? it lightly caresses some part of my brain, and that feels good for a little while. And I think that's basically all I want out of this hobby. That, and to occasionally go 7-1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last
I
year,
would also like that.
I spent a lot of time thinking about Magic. You can see my Game Nights Minneapolis Championship medal behind Graham. The Vegas crown that I won is still at Olivia's house, and I'll get it eventually. But like, I spent a lot of time thinking about like playing Magic well, and I feel like maybe this year I'm kind of like, I just want to just chill and be involved in more of the peripheral areas of Magic and not be like very focused on improving my play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
because-
the reigning Game Nights Live champion. That doesn't mean you have to defend the
Oh,
title.
I won't. If they asked me, I'd say no.
Well, and I think a big component of my interest in Magic is that this has to be something that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And when it starts to make me upset, or God forbid, if it ever makes me angry, that's when I need to step away.
Yeah.
Right? Like the thing we were discussing before the show, which was the job posting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which just like, man, that depresses the shit out of me. Right? And it really makes me examine what I want my relationship with this game to be.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing is going to be everywhere.
Magic has helped me be less mad about other things.
Yeah.
It's the if you play a lot of Magic, you're going to lose a lot of Magic, and so
Yes.
the not constant. I'm not that bad, but the repeated dealing with losing a game as often as you do when you play a lot of Magic it's just like, whatever, it's fine, and so if something goes wrong in my day-to-day life, I'm like, all right, well, let's deal with that, rather than sort of like catastrophizing it. I'm just like, okay, that sucks.
Right. Yeah, like anytime you step into a game of Magic, 50% of the people at that table are going to lose. If you're playing Commander, 75% of the people at that table are going to lose. And that's something that you need to develop like a healthy emotional response to.
In my experience as well, and maybe this is just when we're doing the recorded stuff, which I don't think is necessarily, for us at least, is not that different than just sitting down to play at a convention or at your LGS or whatever, is that also in Commander, one of those four people just has a non-game.
A lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like most Commander games that I see, one person just like doesn't go. And
or
maybe
maybe
that's-
goes a bit, but never to the degree that like
they're just always a turn behind on their mana. They
Yeah,
never
yeah.
really get to do the thing that their deck is supposed to do. And that might be you. That might be you that game. And
Yeah.
so
I mean, inevitably it will come for you. Even to kings he comes.
Well, and then the thing is, like, you just got to be like, are you still having fun resolving cards? Is the game over quickly enough that you can just scoop up and try again? Like, these are all like things that can enhance Commander enjoyment.
Well, my Commander deck is now just a deck that takes game actions. It needs 3 or 4 mana to do things. And it's going to do a lot of those things.
Great.
Are those things good?
They're impacting
They're
the
things. Right? It feels like I'm engaging in the game in some way. Are they major and impactful? They can be. But I mean, I discovered that my enjoyment from the game comes from my ability to feel like I'm doing a thing.
board. Yeah.
And so I've made a deck for a format that allows me to do that.
Also, 1,000 cuts can add up fairly quickly in
Yep.
Magic. So you don't need to be doing crazy banana stuff as long as you're just achieving things.
And as for like, like the commercial element of the game, the capitalistic element of the game, you mentioned earlier FOMO, right? And missing out on things. And yeah, like, Mark Fisher sends the word, it's all hauntology, from everywhere. We're all haunted by the past that never came to pass. From social scales down to like, oh, I wish I had gotten this card when it was 50 cents and now it's $12. Yeah. That I don't know where I was going with that, but that is definitely an element of things that I am still grappling with.
Yeah. I guess the point, if there had to be like a broad point, which it doesn't have to be, but if you wanted to make one, despite the fact that, everything that you see here and the YouTube channel that you're watching this on and everything, magic is not like our whole lives.
No.
And I think it would be a bad thing for us mentally if it was.
Yes.
I think no one person should be defined by any trait, right? I feel like every person should have a rich variety of things that they enjoy doing. For example, I like playing Magic the Gathering. I also like listening to music. I also enjoy cooking, right? Like and gardening and being outside and going for walks. And I have a wide variety of hobbies and traits that all add up into the wonderful package that is me. I am not just what I consume. And neither should you.
Yeah. I really enjoy Shivam's podcast, where he talks with people from the Magic the Gathering community about things that aren't magic.
Yeah.
Right? Like, who are you apart from this? And let's have a conversation around that. I think that's important to remember, because we all convene on this thing, but maybe it doesn't have to be all that we talk about.
I will say the secret layer purchasing does satisfy a collector's itch that I think has managed to parry joining the rest of you in painting tiny men
Oh, yeah.
or assembling Jundums.
Yes, that's true. Actually, a lot of your friends have started. We went to our friend Matt's house, and we hadn't been to his house in years, and he just moved.
The
And
wall of Gunpla?
He has an airbrushing station set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
He
sick.
had an airbrushing station set up in a 600 square foot apartment in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And boy
It's dope.
is serious about it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I mean, I've
that-
got one
that he
too.
was so ill.
and we
It's collapsible.
have and the thing is we have a garage. Like I could build a little station.
Yeah.
I have the
missed so
space
many
to
men.
I have the space to paint the tiny men, but I don't need to. And magic cards store more compactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Insidiously, they do that very well.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the collector's itch. I don't
No,
think
you
I do.
certainly don't.
I just don't. I just only want to buy things I value, but then it's like, oh, now I'm getting too many things.
That tweet from Cameron earlier, by the way.
Oh, yes. You found it.
As we speak, someone in Silicon Valley is rigging a juicero with UV lights to comb microplastics from their nuts.
I shouldn't have said rigging. I should have said rapid prototyping. Right? Because there's no way a .com like millionaire is rigging anything up. They are either hacking or like rapid prototyping.
I think hacking is better because rapid prototyping is a lot more syllables.
Right. But yeah,
Yeah,
you-
they're
like,
hacking a juicero to use a UV light to comb microplastics out of their nuts.
Yeah. Does that work? It sounds like it might.
Or maybe they're giving themselves a testicular sunburn.
Yes. Yeah. Through every layer of their nuts.
Because also the juicero was that horrible kickstarted juice
with
press machine. So
with
I'm just
proprietary juice pods.
so I'm just imagining someone lowering their bag into
their bunch,
into the
just
juice press.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a mammogram for something that doesn't compress.
Yeah, exactly.
I have literally no skin in this game, and I find this conversation horrifying.
Yeah, it's terrible. That was a very funny tweet. Also,
Thank you.
this was it was like right in the middle of the 2 weeks of like main photography for Friday nights, and so I was just like, I was so tired and like just delirious. And Matt read that out loud, and I had to stop moving. I was like, what the. It was great.
Audio listeners, Paul just put up crush.
A golem's hands know no tenderness. See, those are the microplastics.
Paul, I assume that you were just going for the card crush, but did you know when you pulled it up how perfect that flavor text is?
I did not.
It's like,
Juicero comes to life.
yeah. What if we didn't slam the car door, but merely closed it?
Yeah.
Oh, but it's one of them Tesla Cybertrucks.
Shears it off.
Oh my god. Look, they've updated the firmware so it won't crush your finger. Watch, I'll test on my finger because I have unwavering trust.
And then he bonked his finger.
To my knowledge, nobody has like severed a finger, but some people have done themselves like
Grievous injury.
yeah, like oh, I can't bend it now, and like like crushing the tendons.
You
or
probably
something.
severed your tendons, which is probably worse than breaking your finger.
Yay!
Okay, sorry to go off on a Tesla tangent here, but the people who are polishing their Cybertrucks to a mirror finish, creating a Klingon bird of prey coming out of cloak, it's just like what?
I've got to check that out.
What?
That's very funny.
I mean, it's
Like it makes them they look like you in David Lynch's Dune when they activate the shields and it goes to like that rotoscoped layer over top of them.
Right.
That's what it looks like. You don't know what you're looking at because a Cybertruck already has a very unnatural profile for what we're used to seeing from vehicles.
Wow.
Right? It looks like something from Halo 2 popping in. And you're just like, oh, gonna overcharge my plasma gun about this. Anyway,
just wait
healthy
till one of those
relationships
sets
with
of
hobbies.
fire.
Yeah.
It's not like, asphalt is famous for like, absorbing the heat and not just like magnifying it,
But like one of those buildings
safely
that
dissipating it.
one of those buildings they keep inexplicably making that just turns into a death laser at the right time of day.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
like the
mean-
Bow building in Calgary.
That's why you have to do like shadow studies and stuff when you build high rises now. Like people are like, "Oh, what's all this for?" It's like so you don't
you don't
immolate the
melt-
building across the way.
Don't melt a car.
Wasn't that also...
There's one in London.
Yeah, one in London and one in Vegas.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, turning into a laser that was turning sunbathers into ash
Yeah.
as it rastered across the swimming pool area.
Like the end of the the
War of the Worlds.
I was thinking like the hypothetical future vision from Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
It's just someone up against the chain link. Anyway,
On that uplifting note,
I think that's gonna. I think we've chatted for long enough.
yeah, we
Mostly about magic.
we're done
mostly.
talking now.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's going to do it for Tap Tap Concede for this week. I hope you enjoyed this because honestly, I had a great time.
Yeah.
Until next time, I want to remind you to check out cardkingdom.com/LRR for all your cardboard needs. And of course, this show and everything we do is brought to you by you and your kind support of our Patreon at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun or by becoming a member on this YouTube channel. And by everything we do, I mean a lot of stuff that's not just magic. So check out our other channels too, if you're into that. I have been Graham, joined by Kathleen
I've got so many hand signals.
and Cameron.
3.
And Paul has been on tech. Heather gets these online, although I guess I'm doing this one. And that is going to do it. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.